Most people have no idea this ever happened. Harbin, 1941. A city in northeastern China under Japanese occupation. Behind high walls and barbed wire, a facility existed. Officially, it was called the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department of the Kwantung Army, but those who knew whispered its true name, Unit 731. And what went on there? It defies understanding. People weren't treated as humans. They were numbers, objects. The Japanese called them maruta, logs. Imagine arriving somewhere and having every piece of yourself taken away. Your name, your history, your identity. Reduced to a log, a number. That was the first cruelty. The men running this place were not monsters in the conventional sense. They were educated and trained, and some even studied overseas. Doctors, professors, men who should have healed, taught, and helped. And yet, step by step, they dismantled humanity. They told themselves it was science, that it was necessary, that obedience and duty justified what they were doing. Tens of thousands passed through Unit 731, prisoners of war, civilians, children, even pregnant women, anyone the Empire saw as expendable, and the world, largely unaware. Experiments were conducted to study disease, survival under extreme conditions, and human endurance. They wanted to weaponize biology, to turn sickness into a tool of war. Victims were exposed to plague, cholera, and typhus. Some were frozen, starved, and infected repeatedly. And it wasn't random. It was meticulous, logged, recorded, and analyzed. Each person is a data point. And yet most people, even today, don't know this. Can you imagine being treated like that? Being alive only to feed someone else's experiment, stripped of any recognition of your humanity? After the war, many responsible were not punished. Unlike Nazi doctors at Nuremberg, they were granted immunity. The United States wanted its research. Thousands of pages of horrifying results were quietly absorbed. Shiro Ishii, the man who ran it all, lived quietly until 1959. Others became professors, scientists, and contributors to post-war research. Meanwhile, the victims, mostly erased. Over 250,000 lives affected, silenced, forgotten. And still, history barely noticed. It's hard, isn't it? To think of men trained to save life instead of using their knowledge to destroy it. And yet, that's the lesson. Cruelty often hides behind education, behind respectability, behind the guise of science or duty. And that makes it even scarier. Visiting the site today, you can almost feel it. The buildings may be gone, replaced by reconstructions and exhibits, but the silence remains. The photographs of prisoners, numbers painted on chests, blank eyes staring. It's haunting. You walk through, and you feel the weight of absence, the emptiness of lives erased. Even decades later, Unit 731 forces questions. How far does obedience go before morality collapses? How easily can ideology erase empathy? How many atrocities occur quietly, in secrecy, because no one is watching? That's the real horror. Unit 731 was methodical. Bureaucracy enabled cruelty. Respectability enabled cruelty. Science enabled cruelty. And it forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about ourselves, about society, about what can happen when ordinary people are convinced they're doing the right thing. The story isn't just about horror, it's about warning, about secrecy, obedience, and moral compromise. Remembering it isn't morbid curiosity, it's a responsibility. The victims deserve acknowledgement. We owe it to them to learn, to reflect, to ensure the past's mistakes are not repeated. If this makes you uncomfortable, that's exactly why it matters. Unit 731 wasn't a hidden laboratory of monsters. It was a system, an entire structure designed to erase humanity while the world looked elsewhere. And those who lived, suffered, and died deserve more than silence. Remembering them is the least we can do. And it's not just history. It's a lesson. It's a warning. History whispers and sometimes shouts. Unit 731 shouts. And if we are listening, really listening, it teaches us about obedience, secrecy, and the human capacity for cruelty. And maybe, just maybe, by remembering, by acknowledging, by confronting it, we can prevent something like this from happening again. If this video made you think, please hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And drop a comment. I'd love to hear what you're feeling or thinking about all this. Just talking about it helps keep these stories alive.